Yeah, welcome to another Rehab to Riches where I feel like we're rehabbing business today. This is
Right,
business
right,
rehab,
right, right.
balance
Yeah,
rehab.
yeah.
Let's
This
talk
is
about that.
definitely, yeah, entrepreneurship rehab. This is
hmm
money rehab. This is really playing into what's been going on with us this week, right? I know for
This is
me,
the real
Manny.
truth, guys.
Right, right. Like literally, we didn't record last week because Manny and I were both. Well, she was feeling overwhelmed, so she contacted me, and then when she canceled, I was like, "Well, I'm kind of overwhelmed as well because what we were realizing. I think we had this conversation earlier. Is that if we want to live in this 10x way for our future selves as entrepreneurs, that some of the behaviors that got us from just subsisting to somewhat thriving are going to have to go away, and we're not willing to
100%.
let go of those behaviors. Like, I need my shopping. Like, what? Right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
rehab. Somebody told me I can never do drugs again, and I don't do drugs. Let me shame.
I did
Like,
it.
God.
I did it.
Right. It's like, well, now I got to give that up. I can't drink in the evenings. Like, what else is there? Do you mean I just have to continue to level up to become this, 10x multimillion? I want it, but do I want it that bad? Like, am I comfortable at the place that I'm at? Which is, it's decent, right? There's just a low level of toxicity, a low level of depression, like low depression, right? Like, I can deal with that. Is anybody, are you feeling me there? Effie Manny?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's like the energy of the problem and the energy of the solution are on two different frequencies. And when you're really feeling all the problems, despite
Right.
my life being great in so many areas, when you're like, it's like I can get hyper focused on everything that's not going right, everything that's not there yet. And you can be so committed to a goal and to this future version of you, and that's a lovely thing, but not at the expense of my daily like sanity and well-being.
Right,
And when
right.
you're starting your own business while working full time, like, we are,
Like we're doing, yeah. Working
there's
for the
so many
man.
demands on your time and energy and attention, and
Right.
it's like it only goes so far.
Help, help. We're a fucking mess. We have imposter syndrome. Okay. We want to be full-time coaches, but we also work for the man. Entrepreneurship is really, really hard when you have other demands on you, and that things keep happening. Life keeps happening. My mom's got now pancreatic cancer, and it's like, geez, life. Like, I did the thing. I'm sober. I'm working. You know, I'm I'm paying taxes. I'm like not speeding, not getting any tickets. Like, what? Like, why? Like, give me a break. Like, what do I do, Manny? Help me, help me. I haven't
Oh my
shopped all of
gosh.
March. Yeah,
Do what?
I haven't shopped all of March. Help me, Manny. Tell me what. So,
That's
what can I do?
amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Let's take a moment to realize that that is amazing.
Yeah.
So what do I do to fill those gaps where I had unhealthy behaviors, and then I got rid of those unhealthy behaviors and I filled them with something that was just that was a lot less unhealthy, but now I need to level up, right? I want to get to 10K. I'm floating at 8K on TikTok right now, right? And I want to get to
Yeah.
10K. And that last 1K took me a while. Like suddenly it just slowed down. So what can I do? Explain. And also, Manny, I want to just not stop overspending. I want to reinvest in my business. Like, where do you recommend that I start in like rehabbing the money picture of my life?
Well, I think first of all, it is important to take a moment to congratulate yourself for going, for not only removing all those things, but now like removing shopping. I mean, that's a
Right.
major like dopamine rush and you get so much out of it. So to completely remove that from your life is a major deal, okay? Like
Yeah,
it's one of
yeah,
our
yeah.
coping mechanisms. I can be the same way. And so one of the things I think about a lot is like you can't just remove something because nature abhors a vacuum. So it's like
Oh,
less about what you're giving up and taking away and more about what are you putting in. You got to have
okay.
something to fill that time, that space, that gap with, that is equally as compelling as the shopping was itself.
Hmm.
So you said you
Hmm.
wanted to reinvest in your business in terms
Yes.
of money. So identifying some of the things that you do in your business that maybe you could outsource or delegate, or
Okay.
like what things are most important to you about your business right now? Like what are let's ask you that. What are your like top 3 goals, like shorter term, 90-day goals?
Okay. Shorter term 90-day goals.
Sure.
Um, more clients, more clients. I'm ready for more work. Okay. Um, more clients. No, let me say this, more clients that I resonate with, right? So I'm trying to really attract clients to where I know that I can be of benefit to their lives and vice versa. Just and I get that from being with every client that I have. But I would like to start working with clients who are really eager. Clients that have a sense of urgency, that have an
Mm.
immediate time-based goal, because a lot of my clients right now are people that are just they're at that space in their life where they've sort of leveled off, and there's not a sense of urgency, and I'm feeling that urgency, and so for some reason I need my clients to feel that too. I want
You
clients
want
that are
some kind of
working towards some
excitement.
kind of goal. Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
from everything I know or think about, like with clients, this might not be a money thing per se, but it's just getting in front of the right people, having more conversations, getting your
yeah.
putting yourself in position to have those kinds of conversations, whether that's doing more lives or videos, or how many,
Hmm.
calls to action are you putting in your videos to book a call? How easy is it for
Hmm.
them to book a call from this content
Okay.
you're making? Are you making it
Oh,
easy for people to say yes, where they're super clear on who you are and how you can help them? Like they know that you know what their problems are, their pain points, their
right.
symptoms, and that
Hmm.
you can bring them from A to B or Z,
Wow.
however far.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm hearing you saying is like resonating with me a lot, is that you're saying that I need to refine my asking, right? So that if I'm trying to attract a certain kind of client, then I need to refine my asking. I need to be putting it up on my dry erase board instead of, because the universe isn't going to listen to me if I'm just like, I want more clients. That's so non-specific. That's so not.
Right.
So, like I need to specifically set a goal and write out like what my ideal client is. Okay, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that today.
And put a
I'm putting it on my
picture
to-do.
of them up next to your computer or on your board or
Okay.
whatever. Like, so whenever you're making a piece of content, it's for that person. Like you are talking to
Oh,
like Fred or Susie or Manny or whoever it is, and you
probably
you
more
know who they
Beyonce
are.
than Fred or Susie.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Then it's
Yes.
Beyonce.
Yes.
Making it specifically for that person. So they're like, oh my God, he gets me. That's my
Yeah.
person.
I wrote down Beyonce. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So yeah.
That's
So the person that
perfect.
gets me, that's my person. You're right. Um, so that's one area that I'm feeling really stuck in. I have support, and things are moving forward in the right direction. So you know, I don't want to. I don't want to just trauma dump on you all of my bad things, but that's the one. That's the primary thing. So I want to go to you now. So what has been like really stressing you out, like authentically? What's been the ugly thing?
I think the ugly thing for me is it's basically that. Like I get really into like programs and courses and learning,
Mm,
and like all of
yes.
that is so great, but like it's also about the application of those things. And I feel like I'm kind of like you in the client space where, but I honestly can't even think about taking on more one-on-one clients. Like for me, it's I want
Mm,
group coaching clients like in my
right.
course, and people like starting to earn like passive income like on my lower ticket offers and getting those things in place. And so one thing I was really struggling with was like delegation. Like when's the right time to hire somebody or to ask for help? And I feel like I live in this world where everyone is so freaking productive except for me, is how I
Yeah.
feel like a
Right.
lot of the
Right.
times. Like
Right.
I can get so much done in such a short period of time, and I have days where I'm like, boom, I get it all done. And the thing is, I hold myself to that standard that like that day should be like all the days. So
Right.
when my next day isn't like that, I'm feeling like down on myself and like, Amanda, how do you think it's ever going to happen for you if you just can't seem to get these like simple tasks done? And
Right.
so
Right.
I have so many things on my list that like isolating one out. And I feel like I'm a more big picture person. I get like
Mm-hmm.
excited about ideas and systems, and I make sense of those really well. But then when it comes to like the details, like the nitty-gritty stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not me. And I feel like I've been trying to force myself into being that person as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like asking for help, because when I was growing up, like it just wasn't a thing to ask for help. It was like, you figure your shit out. Like my parents were
Wow.
divorced. It was just my mom, and she worked all the time. And so it was like, I just had to learn to figure things out on my own. And I've kind of taken that in. And then again, my
Mm-hmm.
mom's from like the baby boomer generation, where it's like, you just go to school, get a good job so you can make good money, and you just be like a good worker. So even the concept of starting your own business, it's like I don't even always feel that the support is there on from my end, like in my family specifically. Like it's like I don't know that they even really believe that I can do it, but it's like she's so scared of me not making the money I'm making at my job right now, that
Right.
whenever I'll talk to her about these things, it's
It's
like,
like that fear-based response, like, well, be
uh-huh,
careful. Like, yeah, like don't,
you don't have
yeah,
enough money to hire someone. You know, you
right.
can't,
Those
how can
limiting
you do
thoughts.
that? You're not bringing in enough with your business to where it even makes sense. Like, I'll help
Right.
you. I'll be the one. And I'm like, trying to like
Yeah.
reconcile those voices and like what
Right.
I know to be true. So like the conversation we were talking about earlier, when I called you a couple weekends ago, I was just done. I was like
Yeah.
so burned
I can
out,
hear that. I can hear you
exhausted.
spiraling. I
Yeah.
can literally
Yeah.
hear you spiraling. I
Yeah.
wanted to tell you about something that like you triggered for me
So I don't know
when
if
you were
there was an
talking.
exact question in there, but you get the vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm reading this book right now called Anatomy of a Breakthrough. It's by Adam Altman. And he
Okay.
talks about how different typologies have different stuckness, and that stuckness is integral into that. Usually what happens is your biggest stuckness occurs before you get to your biggest breakthrough, and that most people never get to big breakthroughs because when they get to that moment, they redirect, they try something else, they give up, they move on, or they don't realize if you had just stayed in. And so he references a lot of research where they talk about big things. And so you're a very type A person, and you were talking about a lot of these normative shoulds, like I should do this, and I know that I should be able to output. And because I know that you have ADHD as I do, and I'm on autism spectrum, and so we already understand that our attunement to executive function and task sustainability is totally different. Your brain works in a totally different way. And we just don't get the same dopaminergic reward from doing something over and over as it builds, right? We just want something novel, which is not always the best. But in
Right.
Adam Altman's Anatomy of a Breakthrough, he says that, being that type A person, you think that the people at the pinnacle of their field are that way, right?
Mm.
And so he looked at some of the greatest inventions of our time, some of the big and that were science based. And he talks specifically about pharmaceuticals. So, did you know that this man tried to develop in like the 70s? He tried to develop a heart medication. It really didn't go well. He did tons and tons of studies for Pfizer, and they were just like, stop, you are done, you're out of money. And he would have so many trials, like the trials would be people coming in and reporting their, and after a while, all the effects were just so bad that he stopped that like people stopped coming in. It was just like the room was letting him know, like, dude, this is over. And in one of the
Yeah.
last meetings, because he was stuck, he allowed himself to be stuck and he instead got creative. And he just said to the room of people that were answering all the survey questions, hey, so what do you guys think? I know the medicine's not working, but like, is there anything? And one guy raised his hand and was like, I get a lot of erections at night. And then a bunch of other guys raised their hands and were like, I get erections too. And it turned out that's what became Viagra.
Right.
Aspartame was a guy in the lab who was in the lab, and he took his gloves off. He was working on some other brain medication. He took his gloves off, and when he did, he licked his finger to turn the page. And the chemical he'd been working from, the dust, was 1,000 times sweeter than sugar, and that's how aspartame was invented. Right. So mistakes, they find that the world's biggest jazz, like Miles Davis, the
Yeah.
world's best, Wynton Marsalis, the world's best jazz players often have the best and most notable improv when their mind starts to wander during the set. And so
Yeah.
sometimes we think that we have to push ourselves, we got to force ourselves, and we don't make room for these two periods of what he calls exploration versus exploitation.
Hmm.
So if you're in the period of exploitation where you're just executing and you're just doing and you've got an assistant and you're doing and you're doing and you're doing and you're not allowing yourself self time for free and separate exploration that's free of judgment, that says I'm going to set this time aside and I know that nothing, I may make mistakes and nothing may come of it because it's not so goal directed, right? I'm
Yeah.
just going to sit
Right.
down and I'm going to play with my stuff, all the stuff that I have, and just see what comes out. And I don't, and I'm not going to, it's not to make a TikTok in 30 minutes. It's not to, optimize this. Even when you're using generative tools, I'm going to play with ChatGPT and just see what happens. I don't have any purpose. I'm not trying to get, this SEO optimized term out of it. I'm just going to play with ChatGPT and see if I can get something creative. That is when you have your biggest moments.
Mm,
And I think
that's
if you're
true.
in,
And I've noticed
yeah,
that when I'm designing stuff like in Canva, I'll be trying to get it like one specific way. And then when I just start like moving stuff around, I'm like, oh, that looks really good. You know,
right, right.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah. The world's most famous artist they talk about in the book too, Jackson Pollock. He experimented with so many different techniques and just wasn't as and they all had to do with pouring paint on the paper. And then he just got annoyed and he started flicking paint in a certain way on the canvas after he was done. And then that became, this eponymous Jackson Pollock stuff, right? Like so
Yeah.
we need play in our lives, like you need play,
Yes.
and so you have to create space for play so that you yourself takes it seriously, right? So you
Right.
can't just say, well, I'm going to play later, because you show up to work for your boss on time every day. So
Right.
you've got to be just as fair to that other part of you, and make that a priority, right? Because
Yeah.
otherwise what ends up happening is that we just end up self-soothing in other ways. Like it's a cocktail,
Mm,
it's a joint, it's this my obsessive shopping. Like,
yeah.
I've quit buying things but I'm still shopping. Like I found a new shoe habit that's just being
Right.
like wish listed for the moment that
Right.
you know what I mean? So I'm still on
Right.
that crack pipe,
Uh,
you know what I mean?
I
Like
feel you.
I'm still
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like I'm favoriting and I'm hearting and I'm like, oh, look at it's almost like I'm still getting the same. I'll probably be
Which I've
pissed
realized
in
you
two
absolutely
weeks when it
can
doesn't
do
arrive.
just by filling your cart and like wish
Yeah,
listing
yeah.
stuff.
It
Yeah.
gives you that dopamine hit. And so you're
Yeah.
still just wasting a lot of time. And also your brain is being manipulated by this algorithms and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you rather, I don't know, like be out in nature or something? Probably not at first, but then eventually when you figured out what sunlight was and everything like that, you'd be like, this is nice.
This is cool. I like that.
Right.
It's like, don't you can take your work seriously, but like not yourself. Like let yourself what like when did everything become so serious? And like it's like I feel like I have this clock and if it doesn't happen by a certain time, I guess a lot of women talk about that with like kids, but it's like for me it's my business is how I
Right, right,
feel about it. Like
right.
and it's this like comparison thinking.
Mm,
And I know it's so toxic.
it is. Because some people, they have a breakthrough in their 20s. And that's the beginning and the end of their breakthroughs
Their
sometimes. Like
pinnacle.
think about Mark Zuckerberg, right? Mark Zuckerberg, his first big thing was a hit, and he hasn't had anything else that's been a hit since. He's just had to buy other successful things, right? Like let me buy Instagram, or but so and I bet you he's tired of Facebook too. He's probably
Yeah.
like, this is feeling a little stale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 He's
So
like, how do
for
we tighten
me,
this
what
thing
I
up?
hear you saying is like, uh, I do. I love the new. I love like making sense of things. And
Right.
one thing I did get from this recent bout of burnout is I just started like listening to things that interested me on YouTube and
Mm,
it got me back into like human design and like learning my design and I ended up meeting
mm,
with this amazing human design coach. She's not like, trained, but she's just has taught herself and we did this coffee chat and she really helped get everything in perspective. It gave me a bigger perspective of it because
mm.
I think one thing I was really feeling was I I felt like I had to talk about money because money was something that was really hard for me at first. Like I had to put a lot
Right,
of effort into getting that part of my life together and it
right.
wasn't it took work. And
Mhm.
I knew that it was something I wanted to change because like as a kid, I just always thought I wanted to make a bunch of money and get paid to travel, like as like in a job. And what's funny is now like I make money and I couldn't even imagine wanting to travel for work. I mean, maybe if it was like me speaking like all over the world, but like
Right.
even then I like having a home base. And so it's funny the things you wish for when you're younger, but now I guess
Right.
I'm realizing that money in and of itself, it does not make you happy. Like, damn it, Amanda,
No.
if it ain't true, like
Right.
it's not. And so
Yeah.
now that I've kind of like got that piece down, because I'm just more into the like woo woo, like spiritual kind of things. And so it really helped me reorient my vision around my business to be something that's more helping people like manage their energy, like helping women, like millennial women with a past, with, you know, of like toxic relationships, abuse, trauma, like helping them manage their energy better and step into like their purpose and their happiness and their fulfillment right now from where they are. And I feel like that's something I can absolutely speak on and care about. And I think my heart wasn't in just being a money coach is basically what I'm saying. And it
Right.
just
Right.
kind of like hit me. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, because millionaire, like, yeah, who doesn't want to be a millionaire? But I'm just realizing there's so much more to life than that. And if you can get into like your purpose and happiness and fulfillment, like right here, right now, where you are, I feel like the money comes, like the
Mhm.
more in alignment you are.
Yeah.
And I guess life is just a constant process of coming into alignment. But I was feeling very like out of whack there, out of
Yeah.
sorts for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. The spirit of money, I think is
Yeah.
so like, it's so important to know, um, to resonate with, like, to realize that when you're not resonating with an appreciation for where the money has taken you, then
Yeah.
it's very hard to resonate to a place where you're going to appreciate where the money has taken you. You know, it's one
Right.
of those paradoxical things. Like I'm thinking to myself, well, if I had, a vehicle that was, I want a vehicle that is just completely stealth silent. When I close the door, I don't want to hear anything. It could be turmoil. I don't want to hear horns, sirens,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
I want to just be and I want it to be whisper quiet. I want it to have a Nakamichi sound system. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want the wheels to stun. Okay. Because I live in Atlanta.
That's
Um,
right. That's
you know what
right.
I mean? I want all of these things. And like, it's probably going to be like something that ends in ati or eti, or I don't
Yeah.
know, aria or something. I don't know. Orari, something like that. Or
Something
genie,
like
something like
that.
that. Right, right,
But
right.
anything
But
like that. I mean, but something
but
like that.
right, but anything like that. But then right now, I have a really, really nice Prius. It's a new electric Prius, and it's quiet, and it's safe, and it's adorable. And I change my seats and stuff. Like, that is great. That is great. So if I'm in the place where when I back my Prius out and it goes, makes that weird noise. I call it like the Prius alarm, because like you immediately know that's a Prius. Like, you're like, okay. I
Right.
used to think, oh God, that's it's horrible. It's the poverty alarm. That's just not even true.
It's not
It's
even
a
true.
great, cute, adorable car. And there are plenty of wealthy people that drive Prii. I worked in a way
Right.
to be pretentious and say Prii. Um,
Free.
or Priuses. Is it Priuses?
I don't know.
Pri- Priuses? Peni? Peni?
I
I
think
don't know.
it could be
Um,
either.
don't know. No, so are inhabiting a space of this is not enough. It's going to be very hard to level up to the next level.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Right.
And
And so
I
it's
was
that
just
paradoxical weird thing. Like, how do you get to the place where you can start to authentically, appreciate, because the universe is working on our dominant experience. So if I say a mantra, like just in the morning, like, oh, I love my Prius, I love my Prius. And then all day when I'm in it, I'm just like, this is horrible. I feel like a soccer mom. Like, right. Yeah. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Even if in the morning I look in the mirror and I'm like, I have a Bugatti. I have a Bugatti. I'm two chains. I am two chains. And then I go and get in my car and put on my Taylor Swift or whatever. And I'm like, making my way downtown, walking fast. Like, if that's my life, then like 90, for the dominant part, then I'm going to manifest that basic bitch, like at the next
right.
level. Like
Right.
I have to
Right.
inhabit now my Rick Ross bossness. Like when I
Yeah.
get in there, just be like Maybach music when I get into my Prius. You know what I mean? So how do I get there? Like, how do I get there? I've gotten to a point of like comfort and wealth that I realize now from a kid's perspective is very attainable. Like it was things that I would think of like, oh, of course, like baby Oliver is gonna have like cute things, right? And grown up Oliver, as I was a kid, he's gonna be like he's gonna be skinny. He's gonna make all the bitches mad because he's gonna be
Right.
skinny.
Right.
He's gonna have like a newscaster smile. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Those things were a given, and I could see myself getting there. But now that I'm going to the next level, there are all of these things holding me back. Like you said, like traveling was fun because you did not know about schlepping. Like
Right.
because you were a
Right. Right.
kid, like
That's
mommy and daddy
exactly
unpack.
it.
If
That's
I gotta
exactly
unpack
it.
myself, I'm just like, this is slavery. Like it's horrible.
Right. And then
Right?
ask me to go on a vacation and do that multiple times. Like my
Mm-mm.
mom and I are going to Portugal and I wanted to do a Viking cruise because I could just put all the stuff in there
Right.
one
That's what I
time.
thought.
You get to hit all your
Please put
main
me on a
points.
boat with your crazy ass.
Please, please. And then now she's got me
And
going. We're going to 2 cities in Portugal. And I'm just like, so I have to go fly to Portugal,
right.
unpack. 4 days later, got to do
And
it
babysit
again.
your mom.
I'm going to forget shit. Yeah. Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you
And
gotta
she's going to
babysit your
walk
mom because she's
slow.
gonna be like, where is our phone?
And then she's going
Like,
to ask people questions that are just stupid that I already know the answers
right.
to.
Right. 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 Right.
I'm like, Mom, like we're literally we're on the right path. Like this is it. This is she's like, no, let's just
Yeah.
ask somebody. I'm like,
Let's
okay,
just pull
whatever.
over and let's ask.
Uh-huh.
Is this
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Portugal? What I'm on right here, sir? We just
Yeah.
want to make sure we're traveling. Are we in Portugal? Because I know at the airport we weren't paying attention when we landed.
Be
Your mom's
anywhere.
gonna for
Could
sure
be
embarrass
anywhere.
you. Right. My mom is worse. My mom is the 60-year-old woman who just probably end up blowing a Portuguese man when I go to Portugal with her because she's just such a whore. Like wherever we go, she's like, so and so is looking at me. You know what I mean? I'm just like, Mom, oh my God. And then she'll literally disappear and be like, oh, that gentleman wanted to have a word with me. Like, disappear for the evening or whatever. So I
Uh-huh.
have to watch my mom. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna have to have the
Yeah.
birds and bees talk with my mom.
Right.
Right.
Right. And the fact that we're
Because
in a
then in
foreign
Portugal,
country, woman. Yeah.
right.
Like,
Yeah. You
would
might
your
take a
mom be the
Portugal
kind of
home with
person?
you that you
Right.
can't take back.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Right.
Is she the kind of person that would like lose her phone or like lose something or like can you still get in contact with her if you need her? Like
It's not so much getting, it's that she has like she had kids to be like her assistant. So at Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving comes, she's like, all right, kids, everybody get in the kitchen. We're making the meal, right? And
okay.
she's going upstairs and she's checking on it. Well, did you make sure the turkey is, oh, that looks all right. Okay, I'm going back upstairs. Like my mom is not like the mom kind of person. Like
She's the
literally, you come to
director.
her house. Pardon? Yeah, yeah. You'll come.
Yeah.
She's a theater director. Yeah, so you'll
Yeah.
come to her house and you'll be like, "I'm so thirsty." Like, you've driven to her house or whatever, and she'll be like, "Well, what did you bring anything to drink? Well, get yourself something to drink, darling." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You keep mentioning it. Why do you keep bringing it up? Like,
Oh my god.
right? She'll be like,
Dude.
"Oh my God, you're talking about yourself so much." But yeah. But back to money and finding our power with money. Yeah, that's it's been
So
tough
you
for
were
both of us
talking
lately.
about learning to step into that the version of you who already
Oh,
has
that's
it
right.
but
That's right.
without feeling like it's missing so much.
Right. Yeah, so how do you get there from where I am? Like I know that I'm right now 15 stories up and I can see, Piedmont Park right there. I'm in a nice space like in my life, literally figuratively, but I just don't feel I know that I should be resonating with a sense of more appreciation so that because I'm here but I'm not here. Like I'm already thinking about like next step I wanted this. You know what I mean? Like how do I get what's the practicality? How do I day to day get in where I
So
am and like meet myself
I
there?
one thing I just started doing is like in the morning, I heard this
Hmm.
was like the number one journal prompt to make you happier, but like you write on the top of the page, how can I let this be easy or how can this be easy? And
Mm.
this could be anything, wherever your mind goes. But I think a big part of kind
Say
of
that
what
again.
you're saying, how
Say
can
that
this
again,
be
Manny.
easy?
How can this be easy? Write that down. I
How
like
can
that.
this
I'm
be
gonna write that down.
easy?
How can this be easy?
So basically, I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like
Hmm.
you're in a place and you're so focused on this other place, and even though you have some good things in this place, it's so hard to appreciate them because it feels like there's a big gap between
Yeah.
this place and that place. And I feel you on that
Yeah.
100%. I started doing this. How can this be easy? And like, let your just write, keep writing for 3 pages. Because what I
Hmm.
do, like a whole stream of consciousness first thing in the morning, because that's when your mind is most open to like reprogramming. But I find that usually when I'm getting so frustrated, it's because in my mind, I am so caught up in the in between and how I'm going to get from A to B that I can't even appreciate and focus on this moment. And it makes it hard to even take those first steps towards
Hmm.
that because I feel like there's so many. So I've been doing this exercise now for the
Okay,
past
so tell me
like
what that looks like. Like when you do it, what
week.
like the
So
prompts, like when you write.
I wake up in the morning and I have
Hmm.
been writing just at the top of the page, how
Hmm.
can this be easy?
And then what do you write?
And so I will literally just I'll start typing, writing out things that like I'm going to do that day and how I'm
Hmm.
going to feel about it. So I'll be like,
Okay.
I can just print out this wheel of life and start all my videos with that. I was talking about a video. Or if
Okay.
you're low on, it's just literally stream of consciousness.
So you wrote,
And
how can this be easy? And then what was the question? Like, how can I do all my TikToks or like make my TikToks
there's no
easier?
other question. That's what the beauty of it is I think that our minds are so focused to program to focus on the negatives, the potential pitfalls, the difficulties, all of the struggles that I'm trying to reprogram my mind to focus on the ease and the flow
Right.
and the
Right.
things I already have. So whatever I have coming up that day, I could be like, I go to have this client meeting and they're like on track. They did what they
Hmm.
said they were going to do. They're excited. I'm excited. The energy's there and it just goes so well. Like you can use it as a
Hmm.
form of scripting, like to manifest the kinds of things you want in that day
Oh, I like
or
that.
in that
Yeah. Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
which scripting for me is really powerful because usually what's happening is I am up in my head, not in my
Hmm.
body. I'm up in my head thinking through all of the things that I have to do, that I could do, that I'm not doing, that I didn't
Hmm.
do. And so by writing, like actually physically writing it out, it's like I'm getting it out of my brain and onto the page and I'm framing it in a way to like let this be easy.
Oh, I like that. How can this be easy? So you said journaling in the morning. Do you journal every morning? And you
Yeah.
said something about how that, like your brain is most, say that again, because I think that's so important,
So the first hour of the day
right?
when you wake up and the
Hmm.
last hour of the night,
Hmm.
right before you go to bed. There's a little window
Okay.
there. It's actually only a few minutes long, but it's that window between wake and sleep where your subconscious mind is the most open to reprogramming. Like that's the
Mm.
easiest time for you to mold your brain, this sponge that's in your mind. It's the easiest way for you to mold it into something that is more desirable, suitable, uh
Okay. And
pleasurable
and
than what
that's
it is.
that's morning when you get up and before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why
Okay.
I listen to like my self hypnosis tracks like during that time, right when you wake up and right when you go to bed. Like that's why it's so incredibly important not to get on your phone in the first hour of the morning because it just trains your mind to be ADD. I am
Wow.
always shocked at the people I meet and they like literally in bed open up and start checking work emails. And it's like you're just training your mind that you're not important.
That sounds
Like
like
that
my worst
everybody else
nightmare.
is yeah,
Yeah.
that everybody else's priorities are more important than yours. And
Wow.
that's just a great way to be on the track of your life and then get somewhere and end up wonder how you ended up there.
Right, right. Be like, why? What did I do? All? What did How did I? Why didn't that meme that everyone's doing? Like all this work and where did it get me? Why
Uh-huh.
did I do
Uh-huh.
it?
Exactly. Cuz
Yeah,
you're it's like you're on the wrong ladder. You're on the wrong path and you're not like
yeah,
looking around and asking yourself like is this it? Is this on track? Is this feeling good?
yeah.
So for me, I've been so up like in my head and like not even worst case scenario, but just like the gap, like you were talking about, all the things that I feel like are missing. And it can be hard for me to appreciate the things that I have. And so over the past couple weeks, I've been diving into this, like how can this be easy? And I realized like I don't have to listen to everything my mom says about how I should run my business.
Right.
um,
Maybe tell her less. Maybe tell her
yeah.
less.
Yeah.
because you already know. I mean, maybe I'm projecting, but like I know that with my mother, there are just certain things that are going to trigger this old
Yep.
pattern of speech. Like
Uh-huh.
she's never said anything different, no matter what I've done, and it's not her fault. It's just that she's told me where she is on that subject, right? And so
Yeah.
I keep polling her and being like, "How do you feel?" Hoping that she's going to say something different, and she's like,
Right.
"No," like these are still it's an MO that she has on that subject, right? And it's
Yeah.
not necessarily about you, it's her limited beliefs that she has about herself at your age, right?
Right.
So herself at your age is not, they weren't able to maybe achieve those things in that way. So you're sure not
Right.
going to be able to,
Right.
because it's a system. It's meant to, stay the same, the family system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes an
And it's
innovative
like,
thinker like yourself to change that pattern.
right. Yeah, it's just, I guess, a lot of that and figuring out, and that's when I finally decided I was going to hire somebody to help me with some like
There you
back
go.
office things that were just bogging me down, because I'm just like very busy with work and like the clients that I have, and my mom's just like, you don't even have like enough clients. I'm like, I'm never going to have enough clients to support myself if I keep trying to do it all myself.
Right,
I
right.
never will.
Right, because you'll just add more clients and then be busier, and then add more clients and then
Right.
be busier.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. We kind of are mirroring each other's problems right now, but what would you say
Yeah.
would be the top 3 things that I should focus on to get, like, thinking about all the things that we talked about, to get myself together, and what should I do first on Monday? Like, what sorts of things can I implement right away? How can this be easy?
I think that journal exercise, how can this be easy? And
Okay,
doing it for a while to like train your mind to look for the ease, like look for that clear path forward that's just like, oh, like easy button, because I can make things
okay,
really, really hard.
okay.
Um,
So
the
the "How can
second
this be easy"
thing,
prompt.
yeah, how
Okay,
can this
I
be
like that.
easy?
I love that.
This the second thing that I am a firm believer in is that your Monday
Mhm.
starts on Sunday, like planning for the
Mm,
week. So
okay,
I will meal prep all my stuff. I have the house
okay,
clean. I have my essential to-do list is set for like the different days. Not like every single thing I'm going to do, but like the
right,
top 3 things and
yeah,
what times I'm going to do them. So having like a
okay,
calendar that like it's time blocked. It's not like every 15 minutes, but I
yeah,
have an idea of when I'm going to do all the things, because for me, when I start to feel really, really busy, it's when my mind is focused on all the things I have to do instead of the thing I have to
right,
do right now.
yeah,
So for me, yeah, like getting my calendar down. Sometimes it's like even when I sit down to do like my calendar, which I've gone through so many planners and calendars, I go between like Google or having it like a written one like
me
this.
too.
I
I just can't,
resist
I
it.
never can seem to keep calendar.
Yeah, I do not want to keep doing it after a few
ADD
weeks, but
prompts,
like I realize that I
ADHD prompts.
start, yeah, when I do it and I at least put the essential things in there.
Right, right,
I'm
right,
like,
yeah,
"Oh, I only have one thing to do right now." Busy is a
right,
state of mind. Like
yeah,
it's because you don't have a plan. So like I'm a planner. I love planning.
me
Um
too.
in a lot of ways, but some ways I'm so spontaneous. I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyways, it's like, yeah, for me it's been learning myself and the way that I best, direct my energy.
mhm,
And your time, it's like your most precious commodity. And
mhm,
all of this time that you spend, like I've spent being overwhelmed and just like not doing anything because I feel like I have so many things to do. It's not productive. And,
right,
the focus doesn't always need to be on productivity, but I see productivity as like doing the things that you intended to do, whether it's
right,
daydreaming or playing or whatever. Those are all
mhm.
productive activities.
That journal prompt, "How can this be easy?" I'm certainly studying that, stealing that. My
Oh,
Sunday prep, my meal prep, I kind of do, but the time blocking for my week, I think I'm going to do this evening.
like take
Um,
care of future you. Like, because
yeah, yeah.
future you deserves that level of sanity. So journaling has been really big. And you could write down, this is another one. What part of myself am I trying to avoid right now?
Hmm. Say that again.
What part of myself am I trying to avoid? right now.
Wow. I could ask myself that so many, like when I am overeating candy, when I am
Uh-huh.
binging on something on
Mm.
Netflix, when I am like manically cleaning, when I know I should be doing something else, like I'll just start cleaning. Like I'll just be like,
Oh,
let
me too.
me,
I
yep.
love
I'll
it.
be like, yeah, it feels so good. I'll be like, you
Yeah.
know what? I need to get me out the 14-foot ladder because up by the ceiling is some
Uh-huh.
dust. And I
Yep.
know once I get up there with an
Exactly.
eyeball level, I'm going to get on it. And people are going to come into my house and be like, wow, this person is amazing. I think they got on a 14-foot ladder and got these up by the
Uh-huh.
ceiling dusts.
Oh my
But
God.
like,
Oh
but
my
knowing that
God.
I have an exam to take or,
Uh-huh.
like something else to do, like or like to go over my expenses, like to put in my expenses for work or whatever, I'm just like, suddenly I'll be like, really interested in something else or be like, you know what, there's something I really need to research and buy online.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
so I
Yes.
ask
Oh, that's
myself,
so
like,
good.
what part of myself, what did you say? What part of myself am I avoiding right now?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I know
Oh,
because you like work from home, there's so many
yes.
distractions. There's so many
Right.
distractions. I mean, there's a
Yeah. Yeah.
million and a half things to do. And I mean, as long as you have your phone with you, there's as many distractions as you want there to be because
Right.
you can
Right.
shop, you can do
The
whatever,
world.
TikTok.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But at home for real, like it's like I'm very influenced by my environment. I'm like
Yeah.
everything's got to be like this in order for me to be productive. So I can't be productive until I've organized my entire tool chest because that's important. That's
Yes.
important.
Right, right, right. So and we get the dopamine hits from watching those videos where somebody's buying all the things where they're clicking it into all the grids, like they have the Tide Pods and then they have their
Yes.
bathroom and they're putting it all away and they're
I
like
know, I love
and so
those.
you're like, okay, I don't have those. So now my life needs to be like an automated vending machine where it's just like so
Boom.
I've got to buy more things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really from an urge to want to make our home look like a retail environment, right?
Yeah.
Because we want everything to sort of look like that because we haven't organized our interior life. So it's a lot easier
Mhm.
to be like, oh, I need to work on this physical thing than to be like, oh, I'm cleaning
Right.
right now because I need to clean up my internal house, like my schedule, my calendar, my finances, my money. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, did those hit him on the head? Do you have some for me?
So I would say if three things, I would say is to be aware of the things that bore you and the things that really turned you on. Because
Mm,
those are usually those are great signals as to where your work is, right? So for
okay.
me, and sometimes if the thing really turns you on and you become too obsessed by it, then you have to temporarily eliminate it, temporarily,
Mm,
and then see
mm,
what else pops up because it's going to
mhm,
give you a lot of information, right?
mhm.
Divorced 2 years ago, my father died, some bad things happened, and I suddenly became man crazy. Like I just was so because and I felt like, well, if I'm not with somebody and I was going on dates and it was like I was like the bachelor or something. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Just all
mhm, mhm.
constant dates. Like I would go by the concierge in my building and I'm always nicely dressed in the evenings and then they're just like going on a date. I'm like, yes, I am. And I was like having to work out more because I was going out to eat all the time. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
and then I realized like like what would happen if like what was happening when I was obsessing about that. Like something that was really turning me on was just thinking about guys and them being obsessed with me and stuff. And so that immediately was a sign of like, oh, there's something there's a fear there, there's an emptiness there. And I had just never lived
Mhm,
alone. I had never lived alone. And so I was living on my own after being married for over a decade. And I think in my mind, it was just I was going to find somebody who was going to be my I was going to find a lover that would be my friend. You know what I mean? And I realized,
yep.
oh, I'm not a good friend to myself. Like I'm not.
Right.
I'm using what I used my ex-husband for. It was like my friend, my buddy, and I wasn't because I didn't ever feel comfortable asking friends for support and being like I'm floundering here or doing those like. But I would feel comfortable asking my boyfriend. Like he got to see the psycho side
Right.
of me where I would be whole world and I'm like, and then I go home and I'm like, I need help. Like help me with this or and I just never
I'm
built those sorts
struggling.
of
Yeah.
authentic friendships. Yeah. And so what I
Mm,
realized was that I had to remove the things that really, really turned me on in that way. So that was one of the things. And then the things that really bored me, because a lot of times we think, I'm just not interested in that. I'm just bored. It's just something my
Yeah.
friends say it about
Follow
me. I'm
your
just not.
bliss.
That the
Yeah.
Right, right, right. Really, boredom is a really powerful psychic defense from going where the work is. So often we'll think, well,
Huh.
I'm just not interested in that. Like it's just not what I'm
Oh,
into, because your psyche finds a way to redirect you to those better, to the shopping or the whatever, and that thing in the background that you're just like, this is not my issue. I don't really need to work on that. Is really really key. Is really really key,
interesting.
and you don't see that until you get rid of sometimes the things that really, really turn you on, right? Those addictive things that really turn you on. So once you remove those things, what happens is then you go through this period of frustration. And I guarantee you, the minute you get frustrated, like to the point where you're reaching for, I was a former addict. So I was no longer reaching for my addiction, but then I was reaching for shopping. And then once I removed the shopping and the men, and I was just there with myself, the first thing that came up was, I am so mad about this thing that just wasn't a big deal to me before. It was not a big deal to me before. I was like, I don't really have
You
a problem with
never
sugar.
even
I don't really
thought
have a
about
problem
it.
with sugar.
Right.
But suddenly I would be like, I need some sugar. And I'm going to the store and buying like Skittles and like shitty candy, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
eating it. And before it was just people would say to me, oh, you're a sweets person. And I'd be like, it's not a big thing. Like, it's not
Yeah.
really, sometimes it comes and it goes. And then I realized, oh, this was just something that was never interesting to me. But now that I've removed all of these sort of big shiny things, I'm seeing an undercurrent of like, I'm reaching for either it was a man and then it was shopping. And now it's just like this low level thing that I was not that interested in before all of that. Sugar, right? People would be like, I could be like, take it or leave it, right? Eat a sweet. I wasn't one of these people that's like the chocolate commercials where they take a bite and they're like, I was just like, but now I'm like, I need a chocolate bar so bad. I could like strangle somebody.
What I hear you saying is really interesting, and I can relate so much. It's that we're so out of touch with how we're actually
That's what
feeling
it is.
and what's
That's what it is.
actually going on underneath there. And I know for me, throughout my addiction, the issue, it was like I never felt safe feeling any negative or uncomfortable emotions. Like it
Right.
did not feel safe to feel my feelings. So I did anything
Yeah.
else but. So I've had years and years and years of like conditioning of pushing those down through the various things that we have discussed, that
Right.
it's usually the thing in the back of your mind that you're not even paying
Yeah.
attention to, that you're feeling. And like it's like once you allow yourself to feel it, then it's emotion, it's energy in motion, it can like move on, but like
Yeah.
not until you do that. and
Yeah.
and what you're talking about is like about removing those things that turn you on, makes it easier for those to come to the forefront where you can
Yeah.
actually address them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I love how you said emotion, energy in motion. That's so cool because you know, we are not meant to hold on to anything. Like we eat, we poop, we breathe in, but like
It's a
there are
cycle.
certain
Yeah.
toxic things that we hold, and until we're able to bring them to light and pass through, they make us sick. They make us
Yep.
sick. And the true feeling of like tying it back to our theme of being able to manifest like abundance and wealth in an ease
Mm-hmm.
is an environment in which those things are not blocked, right? Because when you're
Right.
in like a manifestation abundant flow, you're not like things are coming to you. So what you need satisfies you and it's there. And then you don't hold on to it because you can get mo,
You
right?
always
It's
know
just
you
like,
can get more.
okay. So
It's a
yeah,
flow.
so inhabiting anything else than that is a poverty mindset. And so it's really hard
Yeah.
to move to wealth if you're still hoarding, if you're still cloying, or if you're still in denial about, think about the most abundant person. I always like use Oprah as like my example. Like you go into Oprah's house and I guarantee you there's not a closet in there that she's like, oh, don't look in there. She's got everything
No.
categorized, or
Right.
if she doesn't want it, she has it sent to archiving, to like a
Uh-huh.
warehouse somewhere.
Uh-huh.
She
Yep.
has a place for everything and everything in its place because she's a queen, and that's
Ugh.
what a queen does. A queen delegates.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
themselves. They don't do everything
Yeah.
themselves, right? Like a queen runs a whole kingdom, but she's not rolling down the drawbridge and everything. She's got
Right.
people when she needs to. But
Right.
she's so adept that she knows she could do everything because she goes and she puts herself where the different arms of her kingdom are. But she doesn't have to. But she doesn't
Right.
have to because she's amassed enough of breadth and depth and understanding that she can pull from those things and create just other things to help her. Yeah, I think this is a good talk. I think one of the things that came up for me is that something that we can use to increase our wealth is automation and AI. I mean, I hate to sound geeky, but that's a great way to be rich now, right?
Systems. Creating
Yeah,
systems.
systems, right? Systems to
100%.
support you.
And that's what that human design lady said to me, basically, is like, you just need systems, like
Yeah.
things that of the way things work, it's like boom, boom, bam. And then what I'm realizing too is you can't actually delegate till you've given them a system. Like you
Right.
can't just say, hey, handle this for me.
Right. You can't just say,
Oprah's
Jesus,
like,
take the wheel.
hey, here's my closet. I want it to look like this and this, like,
Right.
here's all the things that you can use. You got to have like
Right.
instructions and clearly laid out. And the more it's laid out in your own mind, the easier it is for you to do it or to teach it to somebody else. Like you said, Oprah could do all of those things, but she just doesn't have to. It's like, if you want to find a video editor, you got to know what your system is for editing videos or for
Right.
automating it, however you do it.
Right.
You got to create that organization and structure in your mind, which, even though it seems boring or not exciting at first, is what actually frees up the space mentally, physically, emotionally to do the things that do turn you on.
Where you can be enervated or turned on by something, or you can be sapped and feel a little tired and take rest, but
And
getting
be
to a
okay
place
with
where
that.
you feel like it's not going to rock your world, being in a place where you're
Right.
still thriving, because we're going to get stuck again, like we have for the past couple of weeks. We are going to get stuck many times at all different levels. But I want to congratulate you. You handled it really well. Like, I think you handled it really well. And I mean, the look was good, honey. You were serving face the whole time. You were, you're making it look good. So
Try.
I think setbacks are so important. Like,
Yeah.
we have to like normalize that, right? So
Right.
just normalize, like everybody has setbacks, and that we tend to look at people at these peaks, but that most people that have big successes, they fail 90% of the time, you know?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
like Brie Larson. Did you know she was up for The Notebook? She was every big movie Brie Larson was up for,
Yeah.
and she got rejected. Juno, she was up for Juno to be
Right.
the lead in Juno. She was up for Gilmore Girls. She was going to be the Gilmore Girl, and she didn't get
Wow.
it. She went on audition after art. She went. I think she said something like it's 9,000 total auditions. It was, and because it was a course over years, and
Yeah.
never nothing. People told her, no, no, you're ugly. No, we're not into it. And now she's an Academy Award nominee. Like,
That reminds me
um,
of the Niecy Evans acceptance speech where
Niecy
she
Nash.
won the daytime. She's like, I want to thank me for believing in me, for all the hard work, for picking
Right.
myself up off the floor when
Hmm.
it's hard. It's
It's
hard.
hard.
Things
It's hard.
can, like, let's let the things that can be easy, like, be easy, and then like let go of the struggle of it
Right.
has to be perfect, of the,
Right.
like,
Right.
if it's not now, it'll never happen. I'm out of time. Like, you'll never get it done. You'll always be able to try again. It's never going to be
Yeah.
perfect. You just like
Yeah.
keep moving forward from a place of like abundance, of like,
Yeah.
I got this. Like, this,
Yeah.
nothing is forever.
Right. Right. Yeah. And yeah, I like that. I like that you are still showing up, and that we met over 5 years ago in rehab, and we were in a
I
low
know.
place. And then now
Yeah.
we're both doing really great. We're both doing really
Yeah.
great. I mean, the other day we were just talking about like looking at trips, just like we want to eventually, take a trip together. And we're just,
Yeah.
like having the freedom that we can do that. Like
How
when
cool
we
is
met
that?
6 years ago, or whenever it was, I would have not wanted to leave the country for that long, because I
No,
wouldn't be near all of my my
your stuff.
vices.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
couldn't go.
So
Yeah.
it's just great,
Been through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just great to be where we are.
It really is, objectively
Yeah.
speaking. And this is what makes it worth living. Like, there's like different kinds of happiness. And of course, happiness is on a spectrum, just like you're talking about with
Hmm.
like productivity or your breakthrough. Like, you can't be like
Hmm.
really, really happy without being really, really sad. You can't have
Right.
that. It doesn't exist in isolation. And so, like, one of the
Yeah,
things
you're
that
right.
brings us the most happiness is meaningful connections. Like, a lot of times,
Mm.
like, we're just lonely. So like me talking to
Right.
you the other day, when I was like, like, it's going to be okay. These
Yeah,
things
because you
are
just get up here
normal.
when you're doing it on your own, and it's like
Exactly.
you're like, why am I even doing this?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's about the people, the connections, the level of vulnerability you allow yourself to show so that people can show up for you because they actually know what's
Hmm.
going on.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing that we need to develop a common language over that next time. Like, maybe I'll text you and be like, "This is a help text, like help,"
Yeah.
so that you can
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, Oliver's in." Okay, like you know what I mean? Like,
Right. That's our code
I mean,
word.
we got there because we were just having it at the exact same moment, so it was like it was serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really, really have enjoyed this. Thank
Me
you
too.
for chit chatting with us on this episode of Rehab to Riches, where today we talked about just rehabbing what a hot mess we are.
That's right. Someone's got to
Yeah,
do it. We're doing the
someone's
Lord's
got to do
work
it, and
here.
we are doing it. Right? We we're doing whatever this is the best to the best of whatever our abilities are.
That's right.
We're
So
gonna
you're
get an
welcome.
award. We're gonna get an award for this. Yeah.